Hello everyone, welcome to Whiskey Whistle. I'm your host Mark, and this is Whiskey Review number 143. This is another one of the Whiskey Whistle 2016 Whiskeys of the Year. This is the NAS Basic, the entry-level winner for the NAS category, and that is Tomatin Legacy. Now it goes by a different name in USA. I forget what it's called. It looks rather unpronounceable to me, so maybe you can leave that in a comment. I forgot to write it down. Tomatin Legacy, it's 43% ABV, and boy, you can really see the dust that collects on the glass in the sunlight. Oh no. Oh well. Let's get that poured. Whoa, there we go. That's a healthy amount. Now, the brand Tomatin, the Highland single malt brand from Scotland, it's a Scotch whiskey. It's gone through a packaging makeover, so the bottle no longer looks like this. It has a rather elegant shape to it. Unfortunately, not available yet in Seoul, South Korea, where I live and work. However, I believe it's the same wonderful whiskey. This one has been aged in a combination of two kinds of casks, bourbon barrels and virgin oak. And that seems to be quite popular with a lot of whiskeys these days. And this phenomenon of using virgin oak for Scotch whiskey has come to be known as the bourbonization of Scotch whiskey, to appeal to the American consumers, who are considered to have a sweeter palate than those of Europe or other parts of the world. Now, does it work? Well, I've given it an award. This is the 2016 winner, so absolutely it works, and it works really, really well. In this case, I think they did a great job with it. Now, I've done some other Tomatin reviews, one other Tomatin review anyway. So please have a look at that one. That was for the 14-year-old, which is finished in port casks, port pipes, I guess. Anyway, so please have a look at that one. That is something that you should get, as well as this one. They're both, it's a very reasonable range, in fact. Probably 10 or 15%, maybe even 20% less expensive than some of the top, they'll call them top 10 brands for single malt Scotch whiskies. Anyway, so if you'd like to know more about Tomatin Distillery, please check out my 14-year-old review. I'll put a link towards the end of this review, and also check out the company website, Tomatin. It's probably .com, I would guess, but worth looking at. I would also really like to try the, I think it's called Ku Bokan, the peated variety of Tomatin whiskey. So hopefully that'll come up someday soon. Anyway, we'll get right into the nosing, the tasting, and talk about the finish. We'll also discuss the score, the Whiskey Whistle whiskey score for this one. You can guess that it's going to be high. And now, price-wise, I should mention, some people have been asking me, maybe I should let people know what prices I'm paying for these things. I believe I paid about 47,000 won here in Korea. So that's about $42 US, about 50 something Canadian. I think it's roughly about the same price, give or take, that you'd pay in Canada or US or the UK. Pretty nicely priced. Pretty happy with that. It seems as though the older ones you end up paying for quite a bit more here in Seoul. So that's why I'm generally featuring younger whiskeys. I just refuse to pay what I would consider to be a exorbitant fee for whiskeys that cost a lot less in other parts of the world, even in Canada. So anyway, on to the nose. We'll have a short advertisement right here. Welcome back. Tomatin Legacy, matured in bourbon, ex-Bourbon, and virgin oak casks. It's got a really sweet nose. But it's more than that. There's also a little bit of peat. It's very subtle though. You may not notice it if you're not really familiar with the smell of very low ppm peating. Because I think I've mentioned that before, most Scotch whiskey brands have at least some amount of peat that's been used to dry the barley malt. It's pretty potent, 43%. It comes off as higher than that, but it has quite a nice fragrance to it. And the longer you wait, the better it gets. I find you'll get a charred marshmallow scent, if you can recall what that smells like. And yet there's some good fruitiness to it. There's a vanilla, so a very, very strong vanilla type of a marshmallow, I suppose. Now I've got some notes here. I should have a look at that one. I wrote seared fruits. Seared fruits, and what's the next word I wrote there? I often can't read my own writing. I'm a lefty. It's one of the things that we like to do. It looks like Cage. Luke Cage. Do you watch that? Okay, vanilla, some pepper, mild peat, some salt also. What is that word? It's orange. There, that's what it is, orange. Okay, am I smelling orange now? It's more like the white part inside an orange. That's kind of what it smells like. Now, if you can tell, I'm pretty nearly over this cold. My voice is still a little bit raspy. So maybe that's good. Maybe that'll improve my viewership amongst the fairer sex. I don't know. But anyway, if I sound a little bit rough, it's not that I've been smoking or something like that, although I do like the occasional cigar. It's been a while though. Okay, onto the palate. Cheers, everyone. This is where you can recognize the virgin oak. Big, big sweetness. I wrote right here, big sweet with a slight tartness, just enough to round it out. When I took my notes, I wrote it down here, a slight fizziness, which is something that I find in younger spirits. But interestingly, I'm not noticing that now. That could be because I think the ambient temperature in this hotel room where I am right now is a little bit warmer than when I took the notes. Yeah, I don't notice that here. And then for flavors, some rich toffee. Imagine the wrapped toffees that you get. You get the butterscotch, the vanilla, the white one that's vanilla, not the mint one. That's a little weird. I'm not tasting that here. Anyway, some rich toffees, even the coffee type of one. A little bit of a coffeeness to this. Vanilla extract, burnt sugar, mild peat, pepper and ginger. And a star here that says bourbon-like sweetness. The finish is very warm. It's very sweet. Vanilla, definitely vanilla there. Fruits roasted in a roasting pan alongside a roast. So you roast a meat, some maybe like a pork butt roast, and you've got some prunes and apricots and maybe apples in there alongside the pan, along with the onions and carrots. And those fruits afterwards have that slightly meaty and yet very rich sweetness to it. That's what I feel in the finish here. The dryness, there's a little bit of dryness that carries on there as well. Very nice. Now, I just realized I forgot my bottle of water. It's right behind the counter, but that's the nice thing about hotels. They've got a little fridge always at the ready. So there we are. Now, I'm not going to add very much. First of all, I don't have a whole big volume of whiskey in the glass. So I think just a couple milliliters will be enough. There we go. And if I look a little awkward here, well, I wanted to get some natural light for a change. I really like doing the reviews in the day when I'm alert, when my eyes are wide open, when I'm feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. That really makes me happy. I find that's a much better place to be for doing a review. If you get a bit of odd light on my face, hopefully that looks okay. I don't know if it does or not, but we're gonna run with it. This is my last night here in this place. So that'll be my, let's see, first, second, third, the third, and there'll be 2, 3 more. So the third of 6 reviews here. I plan on doing a few more today, hopefully before the sun sets. All right, I think that's good enough. Okay, now with water, very interestingly, that marshmallow goes from being charred or scorched, blackened, to being just lightly toasted into the brown, that rich brown color you can get on the marshmallow if you keep it from burning long enough. Candy foam. So foam candies like the Haribo, like the gummy frog that's half white and half green, that sort of foamy white type of a gummy candy. Poached pear with mint. And the peat is almost gone. It's still there, but it's pretty much undetectable if you really didn't know, again, if you didn't really know what peat smelled like. So this is not something that you would find in bourbon. Although I think, I hope there's going to be some peated bourbons that come out. That would be interesting. Okay, now on to the palate. I think we forgot the ads. We'll put one right here. Another short advertisement right there. Okay, welcome back. On to the palate with water now. This is Tomatin Legacy, in case you forgot. Totally smooth sweetness. Now, I found yesterday that the fizziness that I noticed neat had totally dissipated, totally gone with water added. The toffee and vanilla extract still there. Burnt sugar becomes brown sugar. So less bitterness from the burning, the caramelization. Once it reaches a point, you get a bitterness that comes through, and much more of a sweetness, like in a dark brown sugar, like a Demerara, I think it's called. And again, on the palate, nearly no peat left. Just a hint. And finish-wise, pretty much the same flavors, but a lot more vanilla. It really accentuates the vanilla, adding a little bit of water with this one. Altogether, an excellent buy. I think I will probably try to get myself at least one more of these. I might actually tell my my father, who does like some whiskey, does like some Scotch whiskey. I might tell him to pick some up in Canada. In fact, even my mom likes some particular brand that starts with a G that I really like. I think she'll like this too. And if you're watching and this is available and you haven't tried it, then you should definitely get one. And if you've already had Tomatin and you like Tomatin, then get two. I think the new bottle is pretty much the same as the old. It's still 43%, same casking, just different bottle shape. If anybody has tried the new and the old and noticed any difference, I'd love to hear about that. Okay? All right, so on to the scoring now for Tomatin Legacy. This is going to be 90 out of 100. That's the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Tomatin Legacy, 90 out of 100. And the nickname here is the Flaming Marshmallow. Anything else to say about this? For an NAS, for an entry level, this may actually be the best obviously the best non-age stated entry level single malt Scotch whiskey I've ever had. Is there one that compares? Not at this price point. There's one that I had not long ago. It would have been late summer, 48%, also a Highlander, and I really like that as well. But that was quite a bit. Let's just say it's like the next price point, even though that's the beginner for that particular range. That whole range doesn't start as reasonable as Tomatin, so I don't know if you can compare those. But anyway, I think if I had to choose between the two, I'd probably go for the Tomatin for the price, and also just for that richness that is just wonderful here. The other one though was a lot of sherry influence. So again, it's like not quite apples and oranges, but let's say it's Granny Smith apples and Golden Delicious apples. Different enough. You want both. You want to try both. Okay. All right. So that's it for us. Us here on WhiskyWhistle. Don't forget to subscribe. You can do that. I think the link will be right around here. And I'll put the 14-year-old Tomatin review here. Please have a look at that one. And another one that you should watch, which will be right over there. Okay? Stay tuned for the next one. That's going to be the last of the 2016 Whiskeys of the Year for WhiskyWhistle. Okay? Take care.